Hello and welcome. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran. It's just after 6 p.m. in New Delhi, 4:30 in the afternoon in Muscat and 7:30 in the morning in Washington, D.C. We're interrupting our regular programming to bring you a special broadcast on Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to Oman. We're calling it India and Oman, Close Neighbours, Closer Ties. Remember, the Prime Minister is on a three-nation tour of West Asia and Africa. He'll be visiting Oman at the invitation of Sultan Haitham bin Tariq, with whom he will hold discussions on strengthening the strategic partnership as well as a strong commercial and economic relationship. The visit will mark 70 years of the establishment of diplomatic relations between the two countries and follows the state visit of Sultan Tariq to India in December of 2023. The Prime Minister is scheduled to address a gathering of the Indian Diaspora in Oman. It will be his second visit to that country. The Ministry of External Affairs has said that the visit will be an opportunity for both sides to comprehensively review the bilateral partnership, including in the areas of trade, investment, energy, defense, security, technology, agriculture and culture, as well as exchange views on regional and global issues of mutual interest. We'll get you the latest from our reporter in Muscat. We'll also be joined by our guests to put the visit in its proper context for you. Right, so in a short while from now, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will reach Muscat, Oman on the last leg of his three-nation tour of West Asia and Africa. Now, Oman is a strategically located Gulf nation connected by water from India's western shores. DD India's Gautam Roy sent us this report from Muscat about India-Oman relations and prospects for their growth at a landmark juncture in their ties.
The Southeast Arabian nation of Oman in West Asia borders Saudi Arabia, the UAE and Yemen and faces the Arabian Sea to the southeast. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is visiting the Sultanate of Oman for the second time after 2018 on Wednesday and Thursday, marking 70 years of diplomatic relations. The visit is set to advance already extensive ties, which range from defense to energy, plus trade and investment to technology.
This is the second visit of Prime Minister to the Sultanate of Oman after his last visit in February 2018. It also follows the state visit of His Majesty, the Sultan of Oman, to India in December 2023. This visit is of great significance as it will be taking place when India and Oman are together celebrating the 70th anniversary of establishment of diplomatic relations.
India and Oman share links which go back nearly 5,000 years. Diplomatic relations were established in 1955. Relations were elevated to a strategic partnership in 2008. Oman's ruler, Sultan Haitham bin Tariq, paid a state visit to India in December 2023. Oman is India's closest defense partner in the Gulf. It's the only GCC nation with which India conducts tri-service joint exercises. Bilateral trade reached $10.61 billion in FY 2024-25. Over 6,000 Indian-Oman joint ventures are present in Oman, adding $7.5 billion to its economy. Oman's FDI equity inflow into India totaled $605.57 million between the years 2000 to 2025. Oman-India Joint Investment Fund set up as a 50-50 joint venture for projects in India. The OIGIF has so far invested $320 million and another $300 million is under implementation. The two nations have also been negotiating a Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement or CEPA since November 2023. It has been cleared by both the Indian Cabinet and Oman's Shura Council, and there's a strong likelihood that it will be signed during this visit among other key pacts. The India-Oman Diaspora Connect is 675,000 strong, and they're looking forward with a lot of excitement to the PM's visit.
We hope that this goes a very long way, sir. We hope that all the Indian community, the Banya community, the business community, they do very well, and they go forward in the future, sir.
Oman is also a crucial pillar of India's West Asia policy and a key interlocutor at the Gulf Cooperation Council, the Arab League and the Indian Ocean Rim Association, ties which extend beyond the bilateral. India and Oman are now at a cusp of an even higher plane of relations in terms of both trade, energy, which have already been there, but also in many other spheres from digital to tech and even defense. And with this visit, it's hope that these will then set the course for better prosperity and development for both the nations. With camera person RK, Gautam Roy, Muscat, Oman, DD India.
Now, the Indian diaspora in Oman is anxiously waiting for the Prime Minister's arrival. They've planned a special welcome for him.
Welcome, Modi ji. We are excited to meet you in Oman.
Welcome, Modi ji. Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, we warmly welcome you to Oman.
I don't think I've seen a more humble leader than him. He would love to talk to all of us and enlighten us about our future, as we are the future of our country.
मोदी जी, मैं आपसे मिलने के लिए बहुत ज़्यादा उत्साहित हूँ। वेलकम टू ओमान।
अपने ग्रेट लीडर, विजनरी लीडर यहाँ आ रहे हैं। मोदी जी का जो इंतजार हो रहा है, पीपल आर रियली लुकिंग फॉरवर्ड।
उनके संसदीय क्षेत्र बनारस से मैं हूँ, हमारे लिए एकदम सौभाग्य की बात। और वे मस्कत आ रहे हैं, ओमान आ रहे हैं, इससे बढ़कर और क्या है, हमारा अहोभाग्य।
I've seen many of his talks, many of how his interaction with the students, with others, like it makes me feel so much inspired because such a great leader and one of the top leaders in the world.
Such an aspiring leader who has inspired all of us.
हम सब बहुत खुश हैं और अपने आप को बहुत प्राउड फील कर रहे हैं कि वो ओमान मस्कट में आ रहे हैं और हम लोगों से मिलेंगे।
We are all very elated to know that Prime Minister Modi is visiting Oman.
Prime Minister Modi has a special affinity for the younger generation. He is particularly paternal towards and caring for 10th and 12th grade students who face crucial academic year-end exams which decide their future. He hosts an annual event with these students where an easygoing interaction is held with an emphasis on de-stressing ahead of key examinations. Pariksha Pe Charcha, or a chat about exams, is watched by students abroad as well. Gautam Roy visited an Indian school in Muscat and interacted with students there.
The Indian diaspora in Oman is 675,000 strong, and the Indian education system has a strong presence in the Sultanate. There are 22 Indian schools all over the country, and we're at one of them, the Indian school Muscat. Let's talk to some of the students here because they are in anticipation of even interacting with the Prime Minister. That is something that is in the plans. It's quite likely that you'll be meeting Prime Minister Modi. What sort of an interaction are you expecting to have with him?
First of all, I'm really grateful that we all have the opportunity to meet the PM, because not many people get this opportunity, and I really want to hear him speak about the opportunities, the career opportunities which we will get, the new generation, especially in India. Listening to his speeches on Pariksha Pe Charcha really helps me to stay grounded and makes me feel less pressurized.
That's great. So already even overseas, Pariksha Pe Charcha, that is a chat about exams of Prime Minister Modi, is being heard by students in a place like Oman as well. Let's talk to some more of them. Hi, what is your name?
My name is Eliska D'Souza.
Eliska, the Prime Minister is a fairly inspiring figure. He's very hardworking, as well as he doesn't let the pressure of running a whole country get to him. Is that something, a quality that you'd like to perhaps imbibe? If you interact with him, do you think that sort of an osmosis could happen?
Yes, in fact it could be, because as myself being a prefect, it is a great inspiration from him how he runs this country and how his inspiration is spread through all over the world and in India. So it is a great thing to know from him.
Is there something in terms of discipline as well that you pick up from the Prime Minister? Because again, he has very tight schedule, extremely busy, and yet he manages everything with reasonable ease.
I am really inspired by everything the Prime Minister does. To be honest, the fact that him taking out time just to spend some time with the students is really inspiring. I have not seen anyone else do this, and it just brings me a lot of joy knowing that such a great world leader is someone who I can potentially interact with. So the discipline that he carries around is really inspiring, and the fact that he meets all his deadlines, he is always punctual, is something I really wish to learn from him.
Excited to meet you, Prime Minister.
There's another thing that Prime Minister Modi has always maintained, is that all children should, apart from of course paying attention to the studies, also spend a lot of time in the playing field, sweat so much in the playing field that from tip to toe they do get a bit soaked. So let's find out from these students. Hi, what's your name?
Hello, I'm Aryan and I'm from the 12th grade.
Okay, Aryan, now do you also feel that apart from your academics, your studies, co-curricular or extracurricular activities, sports is and should be an inseparable part of your lives, and is it? And do you feel that that is something that really helps you manage stress as well of studies and exams?
Yeah, 100%, because there's a lot of stuff outside of textbooks that we need to learn, and sports especially helps you learn a lot of that. So like, let's say teamwork. So we learn a lot of that through sports, and a lot of other things are taught in our school, not just through academics and extracurricular activities, which helps us honestly expand our horizons. And all the schemes that have been brought up by our Honorable Prime Minister, it really does make it feel like there is not just an emphasis on academics, but overall more holistic.
What do you feel is the best part about the education here, which I believe is an Indian education board, and do you feel that this is something that will help you in your future career, being part of the Indian education board, like the Central Board of Secondary Education?
Even though we are in Oman, we are still in part of the CBSE family, and being in that, we get all the resources which a student in India is getting.
What do you feel about how important is de-stressing in terms of preparations for the studies, and then taking part in sports or other activities? What do you do yourself to de-stress?
I personally take up extracurricular activities. I participate in the activities which are there from the school itself. I guess the school gives us those initiatives personally to maintain our stress. And yeah, I get into art and sometimes sports.
Do you feel that being spiritual or meditating, thinking within yourselves, or even things like controlling your breathing helps you with de-stressing?
And I feel like meditating and like taking proper yoga exercises and all, it helps to calm yourself down. It helps you to think in the present, like what's happening around. Because in that way you can focus on what you want to do and what you want to really achieve, like your goals and everything. So I think that helps in the studies as well.
As you can see, the students here at the Indian School in Muscat are well prepared. They are conscious of what they need to do to advance in life, and this is something that perhaps will be conveyed as well when Prime Minister Modi is here in Oman, perhaps meeting with them and interacting with them as well, with cameraperson RK and as well as Mohan Mukut Sharma. This is Gautam Roy, Muscat, Oman, DD India.
All right, joining us from Muscat is my colleague Gautam Roy. Also joining us are our guests. Ambassador J.S. Mukul is a former Indian envoy to Oman, and Mr. Burzeen Wagma joins us from London. He is with the School of Oriental and African Studies at the University of London. Gentlemen, welcome to this broadcast. Let me get in my colleague Gautam first. Gautam, what kind of welcome awaits the Prime Minister in Muscat?
Well, yes, Ramesh, that's an intrinsic part of Prime Minister Modi's foreign tours, isn't it? Especially where the Indian diaspora is present in good numbers, and in Oman it's 675,000 strong. And you can see right here, the Prime Minister has landed slightly ahead of schedule here in Muscat, in the capital of Oman, and any moment he's going to be arriving at his place of stay. And you can see how the people have lined up in their festive best to welcome him, with the national flag and the slogans of Modi, Modi as well. Right now, of course, the security is, of course, being tightened because any minute the Prime Minister can arrive, which is why you see a lot of volunteers and security personnel, both from the Indian and the Omani side, milling around as well, trying to get people organized. But the level of enthusiasm, the numbers here are quite impressive in terms of the kind of enthusiasm these people have, and the kind of capabilities they bring to, of course, the Indian diaspora as well. Excuse me, you're in the frame. If you'd like to, we just speak to some of them. Could you tell me your name, please?
I'm Vimal Purecha. My ancestors, almost 10 generations, have been living in Oman.
10 generations.
10 generations.
That's amazing.
200 years.
Okay.
In fact, in January, there was a Prasar Bharati Divas celebrated in Bhubaneswar. At that time, the archival exhibition from Oman was set up, and our family participated in that archival exhibition, and I had an opportunity to explain to the Prime Minister the documents and the pictures which had gone from our family, which were more than 100 years old.
Definitely, that's the kind of stories that people here in Oman have to tell, because many of them, as this gentleman here, have been here for generations. The history is over 5,000 years long, and through the generations, young and old, they've all gathered here to greet Prime Minister Modi when he arrives at his place of stay here in Muscat for his second trip to Oman after, well, more than 7 years.
Indeed, Gautam, 10 generations, the gentleman told you. That tells you the depth, the foundation of the India-Oman people-to-people ties as well. Tell us a bit more about the diaspora. We are told it's nearly 700,000 strong and well established in Omani life and society.
Yes, Ramesh, the diaspora, as you mentioned, the numbers, they're bang on, and it is very varied. It has those who've been here for generations, because from Gujarat, Mandvi in Gujarat to Muscat, there's a whole book that has also been brought out to really chart out that history. And they have created their places of worships. We've sent in reports of how there are two very prominent temples in Muscat itself, a Shiva temple, which the PM visited the last time in 2018 when he was here, and a Krishna temple as well, which is established on the outskirts of Muscat in Darset, and it's on land, a good piece of land, a large piece of land that was donated by the previous Sultan Qaboos, the late Sultan Qaboos, and the people here have had extended ties through trade. Now, of course, it's evolved into professions, all kinds of professions really, from doctors to people who give consulting services to even blue-collar workers. And the numbers have also in Oman of Indians, people of Indian origin, been swelling. There's been an ebb and flow as well. At one time it crossed, it had reached almost 1 million, and now it's about 675,000, 700,000 strong.
Indeed, and we can clearly hear the excitement among the guests behind you as well, Gautam. Very quickly, before we let you go, now you spent the last few days in Muscat. Give us a sense of, or were you able to get a sense of how Omani citizens view India?
Well, yes, definitely. Oman, even Omani citizens have a great fondness for India. Indians have been among them again for, well, centuries, 5,000 years, so it's millennia really, 5 millennia at least, and that has had a lasting imprint. Quite a few of them can speak a smattering of Hindi as well, and of course there's a lot of people from the southern parts of the country, from Kerala, a lot of people from Gujarat, and all these languages have also left their influence. There's a Hindi chair as well at one of the universities in Muscat, so they've had long-standing links, and Bollywood is a great influence. Everybody knows Salman Khan, Shah Rukh Khan, and so many others who have left their imprint all over the world. So that is an influence that is definitely touched the lives of all Omanis. Cuisine is another one. People travel as well frequently from Oman to India and vice versa as well. And there are multiple places that they visit for all faiths, for pilgrimage also. They do visit India, and it is something that they feel has extended to their businesses, to their professions as well. And with this Prime Minister's visit, there will of course be all eyes turned to it because of the SEPA that has been finalized. Just a dotted line needs to be signed, and which our Commerce and Industry Minister has already announced will be done in the presence of Prime Minister Modi and the Sultan tomorrow. So that is also a done deal almost, and with that the ties will get stronger in every sphere, from, as I've been mentioning, worship to warships. So that's the kind of relationship that India and Oman have, and even the Omani people have been benefiting from it as a people in India.
Indeed, as my colleague Gautam says, the relationship straddles diverse areas from worship to worship, he says. Gautam, we'll leave it there for now. We'll keep coming back to you for more as we go along, but thank you for now. Appreciate it. Right, time to bring in our guests who are joining us on this broadcast. Just to remind our viewers, we have two guests on the show. Ambassador J.S. Mukul is a former Indian envoy to Oman. Also joining us from London is Mr. Burzeen Wagmar. He is with the School of Oriental and African Studies at the University of London. Ambassador Mukul, to you first. Give our viewers an overview of India-Oman relations among the oldest strategic partners, we are told.
Yeah, good evening, and thank you for having me.
Welcome.
Indeed, we have strategic partnerships in the Gulf, but certainly the India-Oman one is the oldest. It is also an all-encompassing strategic partnership. And what I mean by that is that it covers almost all areas of cooperation.
Right.
Apart from the fact that our relationship goes back to 5,000 years, and there is, of course, the strong diaspora connect, which Gautam was explaining to you. The fact of the matter is that in today's turbulent times, and where the Gulf region and the West Asia are going through a major transformational shift, I think this visit is most opportune. It is opportune for many reasons. Of course, there is the obvious one that it marks the 70th year of our diplomatic relations. But it is also important because of the, as I said, the spread of India-Oman relations and the need to review this in entirety. I am sure the leadership of both countries will review the relationship, the strategic partnership, and provide it with a fresh impetus going forward. Oman is one of our key interlocutors in the Gulf and therefore a major pillar of our West Asia policy.
Indeed. Mr. Wagmar, coming to you now for the benefit of viewers joining us from India and around the world, what can you tell them about Oman, its strategic location, some would say, its economy and foreign relations?
Much is made in recent conversations when we talk about Indian foreign policy and visits about civilisational links. It tends to be a buzzword. Well, in this case, with the Sultanate of Oman, it is literally so in letter and spirit, and I cannot proceed without pointing that out at the outset, Ramesh, in that Harappan mercantile links with Indus Valley civilization and what was greater historic India hark to the middle of the 3rd millennium BC, that is to the early to the middle Bronze Age. And of course, there have been ups and downs since then, but there has been a trajectory, a historical continuum that can be traced as what we historians and archaeologists undertake. Coming to the 20th and 21st centuries, of course, if I could just bring in and complement the ambassador's comments. In 2005, the Indian Foreign Office launched what was called the Look West policy. And of course, when you do that, staring out of your window and the Arabian Sea from Bombay, first stop is Muscat, which is a 2-hour hop, literally 2-hour, 20-minute hop to Siem International Airport, where the Prime Minister will have landed just now. And that's where Oman comes in, and the Western Indian Ocean region and the Gulf Cooperation Council, Arab states of which Oman is an important partner. And Oman is India's 3rd largest GCC partner. I just mentioned about 2005 and that policy adopted by the Indian Foreign Office. May I also mention that the India-GCC Gulf Cooperation Council political dialogue was initiated in 2003, and on the heels of that was the first maiden conference, Indo-GCC Industrial Trade Conference, which took place in Bombay in February 2004, and the second summit took place in March 2006 in Muscat. And building on that, there have been several of these initiated by the Confederation of Indian Industry. Of course, talking about, Ramesh, India, Gulf ties, the traditional parameters used to be energy and trade and labor. But the relationship has mushroomed in more ways than one over the years with Oman, UAE, and Saudi Arabia, with whom India now has strategic partnerships inked, with Muscat since 2008. And of course, defense and security, and what must be underscored, the non-hydrocarbon relationship. So, for example, Oman's imports to India are not just gas or petroleum, which comes to mind so immediately, but ethylene polymers, gypsum, pet coke, and other industrial solvents, so to speak, which one would not necessarily have thought of. So one must perceive of these relationships as evolving, and indeed they have over the last quarter of a century to take in new initiatives and vistas. And of course, when I mentioned the Western Indian Ocean, as I did, one must also bear in mind that with piracy on the high seas in the region, India-Oman joint exercises have been of considerable importance, alongside the Royal Navy, which also is there in the North Arabian Sea, as you know, with these initiatives. And Oman is the only country, insofar as I know, in the Middle East, with whom the Indian Defense Services conduct joint exercises on a tri-service level. This is unparalleled hitherto and continues for the present as such. But we can come to other aspects later during our discussion.
Indeed. Thank you, gentlemen, for that comprehensive overview, as it were, for the benefit of our viewers who are joining us on this broadcast from India and around the world. Ambassador Mukul, while we are waiting for the first visuals of the Prime Minister's arrival and welcome in Muscat, may I take you back in time to Oman-India relations? I'm struck by a couple of things, including, but not limited to, one, the Indian rupee was the common currency in Oman until, we are told, the late 1950s, number one. And number two, Oman's late Sultan Qaboos bin Said studied at Pune in India. He was taught by the late Shankar Dayal Sharma, who later went on to become India's president. So the relationship goes back way, way back, isn't it?
Absolutely. I think there are a large number of linkages. You're absolutely right. The Indian rupee, as it was called, the rupiah, or the rupee, was a legal tender in Oman till the middle of the last century. So that is absolutely right. With regard to the study of the late Sultan Qaboos, that is something which the scholars have been there is no very definitive version on that. There are reports that he had studied in London, where, of course, Dr. Shankar Dayal Sharma happened to also be his teacher. And there is a legend that a great reception was organized for Dr. Shankar Dayal Sharma when he visited there as the first president. But a large number of royal family members, no doubt, have studied in India. In fact, when I was there, it was common saying that in the olden days, before technology and connectivity came about and the world became, in that sense, an easier place to navigate in terms of time and space, if there was a wedding in a Omani family, they would all go to Mumbai for shopping. If there was a serious illness in a Omani family, they would all go to Mumbai for medical treatment. In fact, a large number of leading Omanis, including some from the royal family, are buried in graves in Mumbai. So those kind of linkages have always been there. We tend to say that India and Oman are separated by the Arabian Sea. In fact, I would like to say India and Oman are joined by the waters of the Arabian Sea, because the linkages have been so close over millennia and over centuries. And since we are talking of the old, and was the 3rd century BC, etc., was referred to, in fact, during the Gupta age, there was also, that's the 3rd and 4th centuries AD, there were also very close linkages. And a project is presently underway by which a replica of a boat that was used in 300, 400 AD called INS Condivia is being prepared. Now, this is a rope-stitched, mind you, this is a rope-stitched boat. There was no nails and things. And this is being sort of crafted in Goa and will, as the winds pick up, I believe in next month, there will be a voyage to recall the ancient linkages, and a voyage of 16 sailors will sail from somewhere in Gujarat, perhaps Pobandar, to Muscat. So, I mean, the point is that India-Oman relations were absolutely close over millennia, over centuries, over decades, and that is the way they remain till date.
Indeed, fascinating indeed, Ambassador. And just on that last bit where you mentioned about a maritime voyage, correct me if I'm wrong, but is a stitched ship called a dhow? It's spelled as DHOW. Is that how you spell it?
That's right. Dhow is actually, even the modern ships are called a dhow, but the one which I am talking of is a stitched ship. So this is going to be a ship stitched by coir ropes. And this voyage is going to start in January. We are waiting for, I believe, the monsoon winds to become, because it has no mechanized. It is a sailboat. So it is under the auspices of the Indian Navy. But this will be to commemorate the linkages that happened between India during the Gupta time, India and Oman during the Gupta age. So these are, and this has been picked up from paintings in Ellora, because there are no, obviously, so paintings or the sculptures at Ellora and Ajanta is where they have got the design, etc. of this boat, INSV, I think it's called Indian Navy Sailboat Condinia, which will be sailing, and it will be a mega event to recall. So these are just, I mean, this is just one of the many things that have been happening.
Indeed.
There was also a reference by Gautam in the earlier report about something called the Oman, which is called the Oman collection, wherein with regard to the diaspora, 7,000 archival records have been digitized in order to ensure that they are sort of preserved and they are available for reference. So this is of the Indian community. 7,000 archival documents and records of the Indian community have been digitized in what is now called the Oman collection. Again, on a historical note, many members of the royal family studied at the Mayo College in Rajasthan. In fact, even today, the guest house there is called the Oman House. So, I mean, there are a large number of such things which one comes across when one is in Oman, as I had the privilege of being, and one could recall. So yes, the short point is that historically, India-Oman relations were very intense, very close, and as I said, the two countries were connected by the waters of the Arabian Sea.
Indeed, and talking about waters, Ambassador, if my memory serves me correct, I think the maritime voyage will begin from Mandvi in Gujarat all the way to Muscat, but we'll talk more about that going forward. Mr. Wagmar, coming to you now, again for the benefit of viewers who might not be familiar with the intricacies of the issue at hand here. Islam, we are told, is the state religion of Oman, but with a difference. Why do I say that? Because Ibadism or Ibadi Islam is the dominant Islamic sect in Oman. Ibadi Muslims are a distinct moderate branch seen as a middle path between Sunni and Shia Islam. They emphasize tolerance, reject extremism, and promote an inclusive religious environment. Is that, am I correct in saying that?
Yes, you're quite right, and I would entirely endorse and concur on that by pointing out that, first things first, Ramesh, if I could just back up,
sure.
And I won't be pedantic, but give me a moment or two.
Sure.
Yes, we think of the Islamic world in denominations of Sunni and Shia, but there is this third exception, which is hitherto not known in popular consciousness, Ibadism, which is restricted to the Sultanate of Oman. It evolved out of what was known as the Khawariji sect from the sectarian wars and civil wars of early nascent Islam. And in Oman, only the remnants remain, and they constitute part of the population alongside the Sunni population. And of course, the Al-Bu Said dynasty, which has been ruling the Sultanate since 1749 to present. And it is just as the Prime Minister visited Jordan, a moderate Arab state. Oman is the only Arab state with whom post-79 Tehran has maintained amicable relations. In fact, Muscat is the go-between for all back-channel dialogues with Washington and the West, for one thing. And the Iranians have no qualms in dealing with Omanis compared to how the relations are so testy with other Arabs, for instance. Then there's the question of local tolerance and moderation.
Right, Mr. Wagman, I hate to interrupt you there. We're getting the latest visuals from Muscat of the Prime Minister's arrival in that capital city of Oman. Remember, the Prime Minister is visiting Oman on the last and all right, if you're just tuning in, we are getting to the latest visuals of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's arrival in Muscat, Oman on the third and last leg of his three-nation tour of West Asia and Africa. The Prime Minister will spend the next several hours in Muscat, holding talks with the Omani leadership on a range of issues, including but not limited to bilateral issues, including defense and security, trade, and people-to-people ties. So the latest news we're tracking here on this broadcast is that the Prime Minister has reached Muscat for a two-day official visit, the last leg of his three-nation tour. He was received at the airport by Saeed Shihab bin Tariq bin Taimur Al Said, the Deputy Prime Minister for Defense Affairs. The Prime Minister was invited by Sultan Haitham bin Tariq. Mr. Modi was also accorded a ceremonial welcome upon his arrival at the airport. He interacted with Saeed Shihab bin Tariq bin Taimur Al Said, the Deputy Prime Minister for Defense Affairs. Now, this is his second visit to Oman. It marks 70 years of diplomatic relations between India and Oman. The leaders aimed to bolster the strategic partnership in trade, investment, energy, defense, and people-to-people ties. The visit is even more important as India and Oman, as I said, are marking 70 years of their diplomatic ties this year. Right, just to recap the news coming in from Muscat, Oman, where the Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi, has landed on the third and last leg of his three-nation tour of West Asia and Africa. He began his tour from Jordan, and travelled onwards to Ethiopia, and now he is in Muscat, where he will hold talks with the Omani leadership on bilateral and regional issues of interest or concern to both New Delhi and Muscat. And while we stay on these visuals, Mr. Wagmar, if I can bring you in, apologies for the interruption there, but do finish making a point on the nature of the Omani society, especially its adherence to the Ibadi Islamic sect.
Which I can best encapsulate with what the late Sultan Qaboos, whose enlightened rule stretched from 1970 to 2020, goes like this. When he was asked about, we need to construct schools for girls and boys, he said, yes, I'm sure we can do that, but why not first start by sitting under a tree and start learning until you erect the building, instead of just waiting to construct something. That is a famous maxim which has been attributed to the late Sultan Qaboos bin Said. And, you can build a building, but first start until the building comes up under a tree. Why waste time? No need to tarry as such. And his rule has seen Oman over these years, from 1970 until his demise in 2020, as an elder statesman of the Gulf in more ways than one. He had seen through most of the last quarter of the 20th century and history in what is a strategic part of Southwest Asia, or the Middle East, as you put it. And his rule was remarkably enlightened and moderate, and which has set Oman on the path in which it is today, where it enjoys excellent relations, not just in the Arab world, the ASEAN world, but also with, as I mentioned about, between antagonists like Iran and the West, where Oman has been the bridgehead and played a mediator's role during the JCPOA talks in 2015, and other problems coming down to the present, when Muscat has been the back channel between Washington and Tehran, which goes to show that so many repose confidence in Muscat's quiet diplomacy in providing a forum for getting things done.
Indeed, and just to amplify Mr. Wagmar's point there, as we stay on these visuals for now of the Prime Minister's arrival in Muscat, as the Prime Minister makes his way from the airport to his hotel in the city. Let me again recap the news we are tracking from Oman. The Prime Minister's arrival in Oman on the third and last leg of his three-nation tour of West Asia and Africa. He'll be in Muscat for the next several hours, during which both sides will hold discussions on a wide range of issues, including but not limited to trade and investment, defense and security, and of course, people-to-people ties. And if I can bring Ambassador Mukul in on this discussion as well. Ambassador, Mr. Wagmar was referring to how Muscat has been a happy hunting ground, as it were, for multilateral talks involving many regional and extra-regional players. Another facet of Oman, as we speak, is its policy of neutrality. Oman has been a mediator, has played the role of mediator many times in the past, including that of a peacemaker, leveraging, we are told, its geographical location, position and cultural traditions, as I was mentioning to Mr. Wagmar, of tolerance and dialogue for regional stability. Ambassador?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I would characterize it that the Omani foreign policy is one of moderation and mediation. It was, of course, characterized also by the dialogue, facilitating dialogue between various antagonists at the time, between various parties in the Gulf region. In fact, if you would recall...
Ambassador, if I can just ask you to hold your thoughts there. We're getting some more latest visuals from Muscat of the Prime Minister having a chat with his Omani interlocutor, the Deputy Prime Minister of Oman for Defense Affairs, soon after his arrival at Muscat. As I was mentioning before on this broadcast, the third and last leg of his West Asian and African tour that's taken him already to Jordan and Ethiopia, and he is now in Muscat, Oman, on the last leg of his regional tour. And while we play out these visuals again for our viewers, Ambassador, do finish making a point there, please.
Yeah, just on the visual itself, if I may just mention, Deputy Prime Minister Shihab bin Tariq is also the brother of the His Majesty the Sultan. So, I mean, apart from being the Deputy Prime Minister who received our PM, he's also the brother of the Sultan. And this is, of course, the first, the welcome talks that they have at the airport before they move on. But coming back to the point that you had asked me earlier about about Oman's
foreign policy, especially its policy of neutrality.
Yeah, basically it is. I mean, it is neutrality, but not if it's an active neutrality. They are not. They are proactive in trying to bring different parties. So I wouldn't call it neutrality really.
Okay.
It's of moderation, mediation, dialogue, etc. Oman, Iran, and of course the latest Iran and the USA were the most important in terms of the Six Nation, the joint comprehensive program of action on the nuclear issues. That was those talks. The secret talks were held at that time secretly in Muscat, which nobody got to know till the JCPOA was actually announced. But even before that, they have kept their channels of communication open with almost everybody in the region. When if you go back to the Iran-Iraq war, when large number of countries had broken off relations with Iran, they had continued to maintain channels. When after the Iraqi invasion of Kuwait, when a large number, almost all Arabs had broken our ties with the Iraqi regime, Oman had kept links open. So they have this policy of keeping the channels open, which I think, in a manner of speaking, if we could say, resonates with our own kind of policy, where if you look at the Russia-Ukraine problem, I mean, India has kept its channels open with both sides. So yes, they believe in quiet diplomacy. They believe in serious diplomacy. It's a policy of moderation and a policy of mediation and dialogue. So they have been able to bring together a large number of antagonists at various times, in the crisis. Even with Yemen, I mean, when the Saudi-Yemen problem was at its height, Oman was very active in terms of trying to do some mediation between the Saudis and the Yemenis, which are both their neighbors, of course. They have long borders with both countries. Similarly, at the time when there was a split in the GCC, when Saudi Arabia, UAE, and Bahrain on one side and Qatar on the other side had problems, it was Kuwait and Oman at that time which were trying to mediate between these. So it's absolutely clear that they follow a policy of a very sober, a very mature, a very moderate policy of mediation and dialogue.
Indeed, and